Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fans First Sports Network podcast. I am Jess Plays of Mile High Broncos podcast, and I am joined with Dave Stefano of Vikings First and Skol. It's exactly what everyone has wanted. It is a Broncos fan and a Vikings fan. Oh, what will happen? What could have been if Morten Andersen had made that field goal, that one field goal that he missed in 1998, the history of the Broncos and the Vikings. Unfortunately, that never happened. And so here you go. It's two guys talking NFL during the offseason. It's going to be a lot of fun. Join us for the next half hour. Dave, how are you? How are the Vikings? What's new with you?
Hey, I'm doing okay. And speaking of Morten Andersen, do you know he did not miss a single kick all season?
Yeah, the only one he missed was the one that mattered most.
Wide left. Yes, it did. Now, there is a fortunate part of that story. Those that are Tom Clancy fans will recognize that in one of Tom Clancy's novels, I think it was Patriots games, he had the Vikings and the Broncos meeting in the Super Bowl. At that time, neither of them had won a Super Bowl. And he had a nuke fizzle inside the stadium.
And I remember this. It was the Super Bowl was in Colorado, right? It was at Mile High State.
It was in Colorado where it was, but it was but the whole idea is they had a nuke go off. Now the nuke fizzled, which means it's an incomplete detonation. But it meant both teams still didn't win a Super Bowl.
Now still would have been without a Super Bowl.
Now the Broncos win on to win, two of them, and congratulations to John Elway for that and the whole deal. But I guess it was fortunate if Tom Clancy was reading the tea leaves and could see the future.
Right. Well, it was written before that horrible Detroit Super Bowl, I guess, where it snowed or like it was like a bad weather Super Bowl, and that's when they decided they would only keep it in like warm destinations. So Denver has not hosted a Super Bowl, but Minnesota, I believe, has, right?
They hosted a couple of them.
Yeah,
one at the Metrodome and one at US Bank.
Yeah. Well, that's not fair. Why don't we have one? I don't know.
Well, because of the weather, we have a roof.
Yeah. Well, I think we're about to get a roof. Unfortunately, there's a lot of talk among the Walton Penners of a new stadium, and they absolutely want to host a Super Bowl, and so that means roof, which is I'm not really into that because part of the Mile High mystique is snow and chaos and all that stuff, which it kind of was your mystique as well. Like back in the day, you played outside before you played in the Golden Gophers stadium
before we played in the Metrodome, yes, it was the old Met, which was the stadium built, which is presently now US or Mall of America, was the US Metropolitan Stadium. It was built for the Twins, and the Vikings used it, and it was cold and it was open, and the north wind would blow and it'd blow through the end zone. We had a big, huge statue of Odin, and Odin would start vibrating and moving, and players on the field, and we're talking back in the late 60s, early to mid 70s, the Purple People Eater days, would start going, Odin, Odin, Odin. And the whole crowd would start chanting it. And teams like Miami at the time, who are just freezing their butts off because it's December in Minnesota, are going, oh my, what is this? And they're starting to freak out, and they just want to go inside and go home. And that's what helped the Purple People Eaters be such a terrifying force. It was all psychological and weather driven. It was great.
I agree. I think football is an outdoor sport, and I mean, it is nice if you're a fan and you go and you can sit in air conditioned comfort, heated comfort, But football for me, like it's like snow games. There's nothing better like on TV, and I've been to a few snow games myself, and the excitement of the game will keep you warm. I mean, there's a reason why everyone runs around with their shirts off with all sorts of obscenities painted on their chest. That's real football, and I don't know.
Well, and you guys always had the guy in the barrel.
Yes, the barrel man, Tim McKiernan. He's a legend. There's a statue of him at the stadium. Not so much an Odin statue, but damn, he was amazing. Like I remember being a kid and going to see him, and he made it to the back-to-back Super Bowls, and then unfortunately, everyone gets old, and he just didn't have it anymore. But yeah, he's a legend. They got a statue of him at the stadium. It's pretty awesome. But hey, it's the off season, but there's still exciting things going on in the NFL. I don't know if they're exciting, but we're doing a show on them, and we're gonna make them exciting. It's gonna be great. Yeah.
Hey,
so
the NFL never stops.
It never stops. It does slow down though.
It will here in a couple of weeks, especially.
Yeah. Did you hear? We should have Bryan Anthony Davis. Unfortunately, Bryan Anthony Davis is not here today. Our Steelers guy. There's some big news out of Pittsburgh. They signed a quarterback.
They sure did. And the question is it? Could it be a bad signing?
It probably is. A bad signing, but they need a quarterback. They're desperate. Russell Wilson is now in New York. What are they going to do? They're going to go get Aaron Rodgers and all the drama and circus that comes along with them. How do you foresee this playing out, Dave? Is it going to be like it was in New York, where he immediately gets injured, right? Like 8 minutes into the first game?
I don't think he's going to pop his Achilles. No. But I see a washed Aaron Rodgers hitting the field, causing problems, talking about it on his podcast once a week, driving Mike Tomlin absolutely batty, and then just being mediocre. Now, Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback. Will go into the Hall of Fame, and well-deserved should. 4-time MVP winner or whatever it is, and won the Super Bowl, and all that accolades that come with Aaron Rodgers. But he can be a pain in the backside, and he has a tendency of getting coaches fired. And I suspect that is what's going to be the final nail to the coffin to the Mike Tomlin era in Pittsburgh. But what do I know? I'm just a Vikings fan.
Well, but we see what happened in New York and kind of what happened in Green Bay. And there's a lot of distractions around him, from the women he dates to the ayahuasca he does on vacation to sensory deprivation pods. To like you said, the podcast and Pat McAfee and all this stuff. There's a lot of mishigas that surrounds him, and it's not football related. It's not going to translate to anything positive on the field for Pittsburgh. And when you factor in the fact that he single-handedly, not single-handedly, but he played a big part in defeating the Pittsburgh Steelers in a Super Bowl, and now he's going to come in and try to lead them. I see that as someone who witnessed Russell Wilson coming in and marshaling my team that he had beaten in a Super Bowl, patience is going to be very low for him. But you take the circus, you take the prior Super Bowl. I don't see how this goes well. I think Mike Tomlin will be safe. I think that because it's Pittsburgh, he'll have a pretty long leash, but it's an unideal. I don't know. It's not an ideal situation.
It is not. And Pittsburgh's stuck in a rut right now of their best of the worst of the best, and have been, where they're constantly competing and getting in the playoffs, but usually being one and done, not making it very far ever since, especially Big Ben left. And with that, they'd never have a draft pick high enough to grab that hopefully franchise quarterback. You've now got one. Vikings now have one. Ours is yet to be seen. Yours had a good rookie season last year. But is Aaron Rodgers going to be that franchise guy at the age of what? He's 40?
He's 40.
Going in, and be able to take a team all the way to the Super Bowl? Tom Brady, people yell up and down, Tom Brady, Tom Brady, Tom Brady. He did it, he did it, he did it. Tom Brady's the anomaly in all of the NFL history. He's unique. He's the unicorn. Now,
he's not the rule. He's the exception to the rule.
Exactly. Now, can Aaron Rodgers do it? Possibly. Do I think it's going to happen? I doubt it. I'm curious what Vegas has it on. Has what they think now that he is fully signed, how many games the Pittsburgh Steelers they view likely to win.
I don't know. Is it more than if Russell Wilson had stayed? I would think it is. I'd like if you all right. So on the face of it, if you say like, would you rather have Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers? I think I would go with Aaron Rodgers. I think anyone would. Is that how you would feel?
Yeah, but I'd consider both of them washed.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, the best of the not the worst, but just their prime years are behind them, and that's a polite way of saying they're washed.
Yes, it is. It's very nice.
Well, okay, so
we're going to be pissing off Pittsburgh Steelers fans with this episode.
Bryan Anthony Davis is going to have to come in here and do some soothing of his fan base, but it is what it is. I mean, they all know it's Aaron Rodgers. They know what they're getting into, and it's going to be a ride, and it's going to be interesting for them at the very least.
It is, and I'm anxious to see it happen, especially week 4 in Dublin, Ireland, when the Minnesota Vikings take on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Are you going? You're gonna make it out there?
Hey, if FFSN wants to get me credentialed and pay my way over, I'd go in a heartbeat.
Right? Yeah, same. Like I think the Mile High Broncos podcast should be there as well, just because I like Ireland.
I think I would be a blast, but I can't wait for that game in particular. I've already got storylines being researched because of the historic value of it. And it's going to be second year in a row we play Aaron Rodgers overseas. And it'll be the second year in a row we defeat Aaron Rodgers overseas.
I think I would root for you guys. Absolutely. As much as I love the Steelers, our AFC sort of rival, not in the last recent few years, but I would have to go for the Vikings of Minnesota for sure. You know what? I think we're going to take a break. I think we're going to be right back. So you should listen to these commercials and do not hit that 30-second skip button. That's just for show. That's not real. Don't touch it. Okay, we're back. That was pretty exciting. You didn't touch the 30-second button, did you, Dave?
No, because I listen to the commercials because they help pay for my whiskey.
Oh, yes. Dave needs his whiskey. Please listen to the commercials. Yes. I'm sure it's like a T-Mobile, McDonald's, something. It's fine. It's fine. Just listen to the commercials. So, Dave, what else is going on in the NFL? There's all sorts of interesting storylines in this beautiful June, first week of June.
And by the way, I did look up the line. It's 8.5 wins for the Steelers this year after signing Rodgers. So middle of 500.
Middle of the pack. Yeah, that's kind of where they've been the last few years. So there you go.
Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about was there was a couple retirements happened this week. On my side of the league, we had, well, both are on my side. No, one's on my side. We had Frank Ragnow, center for the Detroit Lions. After 9 years of playing and being an absolute stud at center. Hey, this is me talking about an in-division opponent. He was a stud. 4-time All-Pro, multiple Pro Bowls. Frank Ragnow was a beast. Called it quits after 9 seasons because he was quite abused his body. He got a bunch of people rolling up on his knees multiple times. And he said, I got enough. I'm quitting. And so he's retired, which shakes things up in Detroit a bit because they've got to move some offensive linemen around. They'll be starting a rookie. Not that that's bad. We're starting a rookie. But they're moving players around. So the question is, with Frank Ragnow gone, can the Lions repeat as NFC North champions?
I will say that anything is possible. You never know who they're going to find to plug that hole. It's not ideal that he waited until after free agency and after the draft to announce his retirement. I believe he's under 30 and still theoretically in his prime, but like you said, playing center, it takes a major toll on your body, and he's been paid, and he's earned it. I mean, he's another one of these players in along mostly Detroit Lions, which is kind of weird. I mean, you have Megatron and Barry Sanders retiring in their prime, and add Ragging out of that list. It's more important to be able to walk in your twilight years than not. I mean, what's the point of having all the money if you can't enjoy it, right? If you're on using a cane to get around or worse, it could be infinitely worse. But can Detroit repeat? I'm going to say yes, because until I see something that is counter to that, then they are the reigning guys. So I don't know. We have to see, but it's not ideal that they waited until after the draft, or that he waited until after the draft and after free agency started. So you're gonna have to watch.
It was after June 2nd, and there was quite a few.
Say that again. I just talked right over you, like some.
If you notice the date, it was after June 2nd, and there was, I think, a handful, or at least a few players that retired after June 2nd, and part of that is for cap reasons.
Yeah. The post June designation.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It gets splits the cap hit.
Yeah. Yep. That's what we did with Russell Wilson. So it helps with the cap. So I mean, that's kind of him, I guess. We'll never know the ins and outs of how his retirement was conveyed to the team or when. But it's not great that he's decided to step away if you're a Detroit Lions fan.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I feel for him. It's one of them things.
It's one of the things. Yeah. And it's your division rival. So yes. I'm glad it's their thing and not yours. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned there was some other movement along those lines.
There was a few others. I don't remember their names or where they're from, but yes, there was a few others that also retired this week.
Yes.
So, hey, it's becoming more normal to see retirements after that June 1st deadline, for just the reason we were talking about, the cap issues, spreading out the hits, and it's not bad. And most of it's probably planned by the squads. I would think so. I think Frank probably let the squad know, go rolling up to the draft that, hey, I'm going to retire. You need to find a replacement or whatever. And I'll wait till after June to help with the money, but I'm going to retire. I would expect. Now, it may not happen that way, but I would.
I
you're in good standing.
personally, with no evidence, I think that it probably came after the draft, and they were like, "Hey, wait until after June 1st." But like I said, like we'll never know. We'll never know. But yeah, I guess there was also a death. Tom Rafferty, a longtime Dallas Cowboy, passed away.
Garden center from back in the 70s. He was a good player, very good. And there was a death on the Vikings. Legend Jim Marshall died, the captain. He owned the Ironman record up until Brett Favre surpassed him with consecutive games played. He played 20 straight seasons of football, 19 in the NFL, all with the Vikings. Well, first one was Browns and then with the Vikings. And he was a captain almost the entire time. When he retired, they've gone back and they've looked and counted. He's got guaranteed 130.5 sacks, which would have put him third on the all-time list at his retirement, behind Deacon Jones and I'm trying to remember who the other guy was. And I want to say Carl Eller on our team. But he was an absolute legend, should be in the Hall of Fame. He probably will finally get there now that he's dead. But one of the original Purple People Eaters, just an absolute stud. I did my show today, Two Old Bloggers, on Vikings First and Skol. And our final theme, we did a tribute to Jim Marshall. If anybody wants to go watch it, it is pointed and heartfelt and a sad moment for Vikings fans because he did mean a lot to the team. He was special.
It's always hard when players that you grew up watching they pass away, and it's tough. It's definitely the march of time. It comes for everybody.
Yes, and he played when I was a kid. I won my first game in '69, and he was starting then, and then grew up in New Hampshire playing Pop Warner, and then junior high and high school football. And he was one of my idols growing up at defensive end. He just absolutely rocked. And to this day, I'm going to miss the old guys, whether it be Bud Grant dying a couple of years ago or now Jim Marshall. It's hard to see those people that you grew up with, how you became a fan. And there's usually generations, right? Different things keyed off generations, and we have them in the Vikings. We have quote boomers that were there at the original start. I came in at the relatively end of that. I remember the Super Bowls, especially the later ones, watching them as a kid. And then you had the 80s, and it was Randy Moss that brought in everybody as a Vikings fan. And then you move forward, and it was 2009 when we brought in Brett Favre, but that team was so good, and we went to the NFC Championship game and got absolutely robbed from New Orleans Saints. And then now it's Justin Jefferson. There are kids today that are doing the gritty, and it's because they watched Justin Jefferson. They will be the next generation of Vikings fans, and that 30 years from now, when I'm probably dead and gone, they'll be talking on FFSN, the NFL football show. It is just what it is, and it's a shame. But there was other news this week too. Let's talk about some of the legal troubles.
Ooh, yeah. Well, Pac-Man Jones, former Denver Bronco. A lot of people don't remember. In 2018, we had 7 games with Adam Jones. He had dropped the Pac-Man. Looking at his arrests, he got arrested again, intoxicated. I guess he slapped around a cop. His agent says that it was aggressive policing. When it comes to Pac-Man Jones, I'm not so sure it's aggressive policing. He is a large person, and when he gets intoxicated, I guess he gets a little handsy, and It's not good. It's so Adam Jones is in trouble again. I guess the last time he was arrested was the night of the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fiasco fight. So I guess he didn't get to watch it because he was in handcuffs. So, but yeah, Adam Pac-Man Jones arrested. Who saw that coming?
It happens, and hopefully you can't blame it on CTE or something like that. And that it's just, bad judgment on his part. But
I think it's bad judgment. Maybe it's CTE. I don't know. But yeah, it's kind of, remember those old Bengals teams with Burfict and him, and they, that was, they had a little bit of an edge to them, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. They did. Hey, there's quite a few teams that have it in our history.
I mean, I seem to remember some sort of party cruise with.
Yes. The Love Boat.
Yes, the Love Boat. Ah, what a time to be alive.
Yes, it was.
And I guess there's another one that's. I mean, we can laugh at Pac-Man Jones because he's constantly in trouble. So it's no longer carries that weight of seriousness. But I guess Kelvin Joseph was intoxicated, and somehow there is a lady on a motorcycle and she died, and so it's been a bad week for mostly her and Kelvin Joseph. So that's not good.
Not at all. Anytime there's a loss of life, that's a shame.
Dave, we have a lot of NFL players that listen to this podcast, and so I'd like to take this moment and just be like, hey, take an Uber, call a cab, have your agent drive you, get an assistant. Have him
most teams provide for it.
Yeah. There's no reason to be out there. Like,
they'll send a chauffeur to come pick you up.
It's senseless, needless, and awful. So if you're an NFL player listening to this, take Dave's advice, have the team pick you up and take you where you need to go.
And it's anonymous, and they don't tell. Vikings have had that in place for decades now. I
bet there are GMs that want to avoid trouble that they would actually probably go pick them up themselves.
Yeah, well, it's advantageous for the team, period. So I'm sure the team owners or whoever pay for it, and it goes, because they don't want you running, 130 miles an hour down I-94.
Right. Yeah, and this isn't, when they send someone to pick you up, it's not someone in a Kia. It's not some dude in an old Saturn. I'm sure it's an Escalade. I'm sure it's nice. Check it out. Have them come get you and check it out and report back. Tweet us at Jezru on all the social media. Dave, where can people find you?
They can find me at Vikings First in Skol, and on the X, it's at Vikings First, 1ST. Skol, SKOL. And they can find me, Dave, at Luft_Krieger. That
means air god.
Air warrior.
Warrior.
In Norse for air warrior.
I like it. It's like you're the Vikings guy, and you've got the Norse working, and it's like form and function working together. I love it. I like it.
That's why I grew the beard.
It works. Anything else? Is there anything else exciting going on that we missed? I mean, guys, it's the first week of June. There's not a lot going on.
Well, most teams have their mandatory minicamp coming up this week. So if you're a fan of any of the teams other than the Green Bay Packers, go to Fans First Sports Network and follow your team. There's got to be somebody podcasting about your team. Whether it's the Eagles, whether it's the Steelers, whether it's the Las Vegas Raiders, whether it's the Los Angeles Chargers, or whatever team you have, guaranteed they have people covering it at Fans First Sports Network. We have podcasts.
Not just NFL. Like we have
Oh,
baseball, college, and hockey, and basketball, and
soccer.
I don't know.
We have soccer and golf and all sorts of stuff. And by soccer, I mean football. Both European Cups and over here in the U.S. If it's a sport, we probably have somebody covering it, including wrestling.
Not Greco-Roman wrestling. We're talking
Wrestling.
I like it.
WWE, all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We got fans talking about it. And if you're a fan of the sport and want to talk about your sport, just go over to fansfirstsports.com and drop a letter. They're always looking for new talent, just like we're been looking for a new Packers podcaster to come join the rest of the NFC North and stick up for your team.
Because Dave is, as the Vikings guy, is going to make fun of the Packers every chance
Always.
he gets. Absolutely. So if you think you can take Dave on, come on.
And then you have me, you have Pay and the crew over at Frustrated Chicago Sports Fans channel now, which obviously they're frustrated. And you have June and Foster from Bleachers to Speakers, who are the Detroit Lions crew. And we all three love picking on the team in the middle, the Green Bay Packers.
You know, you mentioned the Bears. There's one thing I want to mention is that George Wendt died, and he was one of the Bears super fans from the SNL, Saturday Night Live. And it was kind of sad. I felt bad because they were always made the heart attack jokes, and unfortunately, that's what ultimately got George Wendt. I
didn't hear what he died from, but that's
like congestive. Like there was like a whole like heart menu of things. Yeah. But George Wendt was awesome. He was probably my favorite Bears fan ever.
It was probably from too many years of bad quarterback play.
I don't know if he really was a Bears fan in real life, but I'll tell you, he will be remembered for sure as one of the Bears super fans from the Saturday Night Live.
There's a guy that does music shorts for the Bears, and he sings different things put to Bears stuff. And George talked to him all the time, loved his stuff. And he since took a couple weeks off to mourn George, but George was a Bears fan.
The Bears. On that note, Dave, I think we're gonna stick a pin in it and call it a night. We want to thank you for listening for this 33 minutes and 7 seconds of the Fans First Sports Network football NFL show. Unfortunately,
find your podcast.
Oh, my podcast. Well, I do something Broncos over at Mile High Broncos with Mike DeSico. So you can find that podcast wherever you get your podcasts. I hope you subscribe here. I would love for you to subscribe there, especially if you are not a Broncos fan and you are part of the AFC West, because we talk a lot of trash and I want to make sure it's heard by the right people. So please subscribe.
Pick on the Chiefs or the Raiders or who?
Well, a lot of times it's the Raiders. A lot of Raiders talk. There's a lot of Chiefs hatred that goes on there. So, I mean, if you are of the AFC West and not a Chiefs fan, there's something for everybody. So, and then the Chargers. I mean, they're there, but no one ever thinks about the Chargers.
Did you pick on Taylor Swift?
Yeah. There's a lot to mine there. Yeah. I mean, have you met Jackson Mahomes? Have you seen him? Like, there's plenty. There's plenty going on. So Dave is with Vikings First and Skol, so make sure you subscribe there. He has all the insight for all things Bud Grant, Jim Marshall, Purple People Eaters, and the Vikings of today. So very knowledgeable, great guy. I just did a show with him. I can vouch.
Hey, it's a second show we've done together, by the way. Just not
I think
first
is it the second or the third? Maybe it might be the third. I think we had you on something Broncos once.
Yeah, and I had you on mine. Yes, so it's the third.
All right. Well, until next time, Dave. There's one thing we like to say on this show, and I wrote it down because I keep forgetting what it is, and everyone makes fun of me. So I have it on my Post-it note right here. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, go
Football.